The next speaker is a wonderful, great woman. Her name is Rachel, minister. I call her Pastor Rachel Raymond to you, that she's a great woman, a wonderful woman of God. She is part of a strong apostolic, she's part of a church as well, but she's also part of a strong apostolic platform. Pastor Rachel Raymond is a mental health nurse, and she's going to be talking to us on this topic. So over to, she has a lot of, in fact, her bio is very big, so I can't really go into it right now. I would, but she has a lot of, and she believes in wholeness and roundness in terms of us. She has a strong prophetic and apostolic grace upon her. So please welcome. 30 minutes. Thank you.
You know, statistics has it that women are mostly prone to have mental health, and there are different reasons for this. Biological, we are the ones that have children. You have postnatal depression, you know, prenatal depression, and things like that. So yeah, I'm just going to take it from there. I'm just going to mention some things quickly, and then I'll say to us what I feel that God has put in my heart to say to us concerning this issue. I hope mental health. And I want to just explain to us what is mental health. What is mental health? Because there are a lot of new information about mental health and all of that. Well, I grew up in Africa. I was born in Africa, Nigeria precisely. And when I was growing up, nobody ever taught me about mental health. What I learned to do was we're taught about how to look after our physical health. We had homemade remedies for all sorts of things. When you're having stomach ache, and this is what you do. And I remember when I was young, I had this book that my brother came home with, and on it was written. The book has a yellow cover. I can't forget. I'll always remember it. And it says on it where there is no doctor, where there is no doctor, and it's just about how you can take care of your physical health whilst you're at home, or when there is no doctor, or just making home remedies and all of that. But these are all the things that we learned when we're growing up, but nobody ever taught us on how to take care of our mental health, you know. And growing up now and having more understanding, I see some things that people were portraying then that were mental health, and they didn't get any help for it, and we just put them aside and say, oh, maybe this is what is wrong with this person. This person is stubborn, and then, or we go traditional and say, the person has a banje and things like that. But these are serious mental health issues that were left unaddressed. So I want to start today by asking, what is mental health? Mental health is our overall emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Why do we need to have a good mental health? Because a good mental health helps us to cope with everyday life, to cope with our stress, to realize our ability, to learn well, to work well, to keep ourselves well, to keep good relationship. And without having this our mental health in check, we'll not be able to achieve all of these of mental disorders. And I'll just put them briefly. I'll just say them briefly, put them in different categories quickly, and just say them briefly. We have things that we call anxiety disorder. Okay, we have mood disorder, we have personality disorder, and then we have psychosis. When it comes to anxiety disorder, we have things like panic disorder. Have you ever seen people who have panic attack? It's not just the one-off thing. They have different things that trigger it, but people just have panic attack that is very, very serious. Sometimes it's based on the traumas they are having, or fear and all of that. There are some people also who have social anxiety disorder, and then phobias. Some of us do have phobias, but there are some that are really, really serious. I remember when I was in school and I was sharing room with one of these ladies. I lived outside of campus then when I was in school back home, and I used to live with this friend. And then there was gunshot, and we heard that where we're staying outside of campus, that the thieves were coming around, and this lady went into serious panic attack. She could not breathe. I was asking her, breathe, breathe. She could not breathe. Like she was so scared. And that was because of the trauma she had had. She was raped by thieves when she was before she came to school. And so when she heard when the gun went off and she heard that noise, she just felt it was going to happen again. And then she went into panic attack. So these are part of mental health that we do not check. And there's so also mood disorders, and these are so common with women. Depression disorders, bipolar, and other kind of depressive disorders. And you know that statistics says that more women are prone to having mental health than men, because we are the ones that will have children, you know, emotional stress, relationship stress, stress for our children, too many stress for women. And this can lead to mental health. So these other mood disorders, we have depressive mood disorder, bipolar disorder, persistent. So we have borderline personality disorder, and EUPD, emotional, unstable personality disorder. We have all of that. And then we have psychosis. And sometimes we ask, how does mental health start? We have other disorders like obsessive cleaning, post-traumatic stress disorder, schizophrenia, and psychosis, and all of that. And there are different ways that people can end up becoming unwell or having mental health issues. Some people is genetic. That's why in those days, especially back home, before you get married, let's go and check the family. We want to see if this person has ever had mental disorder, if they have anybody that has mental health disorder in their house, so that we will not go and marry them, So some of them is genetic. And we have to find out, we have to ask questions, check in your family. Is there anybody that has had this kind of thing before, so that you know how to prevent yourself? Because there are different triggers. If you have in your genetics, or you have family members that have had any kind of mental health issue, you have to start looking after yourself. What was the trigger? What made them to become so? And you start looking after yourself from now, so that you don't fall into such you don't have such things. Even cancer, we should treat mental health like every other kind of health issues that one can have, you know. So, and you don't look down on anybody that has mental health, because anything can trigger it. Sometimes it's stress. Stress can trigger mental health. And we know that this country is very stressful sometimes, because you have a lot of things you need to do. You have to pay your bills. You have to do that. You have stress from home, people calling you. And, so stress, environmental stress can cause mental health issues. Also, physical health can lead, but I did one of my dissertation on physical health and mental health. Some physical health issue can lead to mental health issue. So you don't look down on anybody that has this issue, because it does come on people, either by genetic or by stress. Before now, I used to just like, why do people get sick? And I used to just think that it's only drug induced psychosis, because there's a lot of people who we see in the hospital are many of them have drug induced psychosis. But before you judge them, some people are using the drugs to cope. People are using the drug to cope because of the voices they are hearing. And some of them have become unwell because they went into drug. But what led them to taking drugs? So that's why we have something we call in mental health. We call it the trauma-informed approach, where you don't judge people and say, what is wrong with you? Rather, you ask them what has happened to you, because their event, for example, if somebody has been raped, and then just to cope with that imagination, they are taking they are drinking, and then, or taking drugs just to get that thing off their mind, and they become unwell. It's so easy for us to judge. But if we find out what has happened to them, then we are more empathetic, and we sympathize more with them, and we're able to look after them more. So yeah, so that's that. Then you don't judge people. Like I had something happen to me recently, some time ago. I was in so much stress. I did not know, my hair was falling off, and I thought, look, what is this? Am I having cancer? And then I went to the hospital, and they did a biopsy for me, and they checked. And then when they took out 6 part of my hair, they cut me in 6 places and did the biopsies. And when they did the biopsy, it came out that it was stress related alopecia that I had, because I was losing my hair. It was stress related. That could have been my brain. That really humbled me. And I said that, look, mental health can happen to anybody at any time. So we have to be careful. So how do we prevent this from happening? We're talking about prioritizing ourselves, how to take care of your mental health. One of the things you need to do is self-care. I know this self-care is a buzz. Everybody's talking about it. Self-care, you have to do this, you have to do that. It's like, oh, I have to, pamper myself. But it's a very, very serious issue. And you have to understand that you have to have some self-care, be inquisitive, find out what is in my family, Who is suffering mental health? If you don't have it in your family, what has caused this? How can I prevent myself? Especially when it comes to environment like this that is too stressful.